what's going on, guys? It is Fox98 here. Welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2019 career mode for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for round number 14, I believe this is now, for the Italian Grand Prix. And as you can see, unfortunately, we did actually lose out on our development, which was for the Halo for the Italian Grand Prix here today. So we're not going to be getting that on the car, which is a shame, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. We've had a lot of upgrades that have gone our way, so it's about time that we kind of have one that doesn't go our way. But if you enjoyed today's video, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. And once again, I am mass recording a bunch of videos, so once again, be wary of traffic outside because it's hot, more windows open. With that out the way, let's get on into things then. So we are going to repurchase that upgrade for the Halo to come for the Singapore Grand Prix nonetheless. I still want it on the car, and that will, like I said, most probably be the final upgrade that I make this season, as I am now heading in towards Season 2, and what I do with the McLaren car then, saving up all my resource points, and making sure obviously that I adapt everything that I need to, if I get a regulation change. I might not even get one. But as we come around the final corner now through the parabolic here in our first qualifying lap, actually going a bit wide on the exit there, but Vettel has set the benchmark of a 121.1 to beat, and we just about beat that with a 121.1. Bear in mind though, Vettel is on medium tyres. I've gone out on the soft tyres, but it worked out for us. We got into Q2. We only had to do the one run there. Hamilton ahead of Bottas, ahead of Vettel, ahead of Bolsack, ahead of Gasly, and then ahead of Leclerc, Verstappen, and myself. Lando Norris also just about making it into Q2, but he makes it nonetheless. So, yeah, both McLarens through into Q2 with both Ferraris eligible to qualify on the medium tyres. It's Q2 then, and actually the rain started to fall, interestingly enough, which was quite interesting. So we had to get out there and get our lap in straight away for this run, and we only were going to have one run at it. We weren't going to have two runs like we normally would, because it's just going to get, the track's just going to get even worse. This is the best time to get out there and set a lap time. We set a lap which is 0.9 of a second down on Charles Leclerc, but remember, he is now on the soft tyres, and obviously he's in a Ferrari. Well, what do you expect more from him? But we do actually manage to make it through into Q3. The drivers, some of them went out there, couldn't improve, the likes of Verstappen and my teammate Lando Norris, the big hitters out in qualifying. Devin Bolsack does manage to get in front of me there, but that's completely fine, so there's that. Moving then through swiftly into the third part of qualifying and our one run here, Lewis Hamilton sets the benchmark of a 130.1 to beat as we now come around the final corner here to try and beat what Lewis Hamilton has just done. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc has just gone fastest with a 129.9. Can we get anywhere near the 129 mark? It's going to be close actually, and it is going to be in the front row of the grid here at the Italian Grand Prix. Second place it is going to be, and I cannot complain with that. Once again, the skills in the wet pay dividends, and it is a front row start. It is going to be Charles Leclerc on pole position in front of the Tifosi home crowd, with myself in second place ahead of the two Mercedes cars, and then it's Vettel in the Ferrari, and then Devin Bolsack in the Sport Pace of Carlos Bolsack Racing Point Formula 1 team, yeah, really good stuff there. And really happy with that. Front row of the grid. Obviously, we are expecting a dry race, so things are going to pan out differently, and we'll just have to see how the car can handle and try and potentially get a top 6 finish. That's what we're going to be aiming for. But without further ado, let's get straight into the Grand Prix for this Italian Grand Prix.
It's race day here in Italy once again. Monza, home to so many records. The smallest winning margin, for example. Do you remember in 1971, Peter Gethin beat Ronnie Peterson to the line by 1/100th of a second. There were 40 overtakes for the lead alone in 1965, and Kimi Räikkönen clocked a record top speed of 230 miles per hour here, just over a decade ago. So there's a lot to live up to then for all of our drivers today. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes, and with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's talk about Thomas. That was a great podium in the last race, so can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out will have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, and Thomas completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Vettel, Devon Butler, and Gasly, Sainz, Perez, Bottas, and Kimi Raikkonen, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Max Verstappen, and Norris. Grosjean, Russell, Lucas Faber, and Antonio Giovinazzi. Kubica and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Alright, so we're here now on the start line for the Italian Grand Prix. It's going to be a one-stop race, soft to mediums. That's the stint that we're going to go for. And we're going to lower the, I think, increase the fuel road just a little bit there. But as you can see now, we're on the grid here to start the Grand Prix. It is going to be 3, 4, now 5 red lights here to start this Italian Grand Prix off. And it's lights out. We're here to start the Italian Grand Prix. Good initial getaway from Charles Leclerc. Bit of wheel spin on our side of things. We tuck into the slipstream now of Charles Leclerc, but instantly go defensive against Vettel as they come flying through now in towards the first corner here. It is Charles Leclerc. Hamilton has managed to get the jump on me. Vettel now tries to get the jump as well in the early stages of the Grand Prix, but it is Charles Leclerc that leads for Ferrari. Hamilton in second place. We're now into third. Vettel is in fourth place, but he's right on my back here as we go through the Curva Grande. Now up towards the chicane here. Vettel picks the outside line, but eventually ditches it. Tries to go for the inside line, switchback line there. It doesn't work in Vettel's favour, though. Vettel now under pressure from Devon Bolsack behind in the Sport Pacer Bolsack Carlos thing team. I couldn't even do it. That's the first time I've butchered it, actually. As we now go through the second Lesmo here, and we make the charge now down towards the Ascari chicane, and increasing our ERS fuel mixture, and also obviously our ERS batteries. Vettel now, you can see, comes at us in towards the Ascari chicane. He's got a great run, actually. The closing speed is there for Seb, but he decides that there's no point in looking at it, as I think we might have actually extended the Ascari chicane there. Whoa, back end coming all over the place there on the opening lap. That's not going to help us out at all, as Vettel now gets a great run towards the Parabolica, and as we try and go through now, are we going to defend against Vettel or just let him through? Nope, we're going to defend it. Down the inside and towards the Parabolica, keep the place. Vettel now right on my back here, but Leclerc leads through Hamilton ahead of obviously myself and then Vettel. And all this is doing is hampering Vettel's race and just, well, helping mine in a way, because it's just allowing me to have some fun. As Vettel now comes flying through here, but in the latter stages, you can see there, we're holding our own against Vettel. He breaks a little bit later than myself, but I've managed to break earlier, just swoop on through, and that just allows Devon Bolsack there to have a run now at Sebastian Vettel in this opening lap, should I say, the Grand Prix. So you can see Bolsack boy now coming on through. I go very wide there. I actually blocked Devon in his path there. That allows Seb now to come on through, but in towards the chicane here. On that occasion, I'm trying to get the best camera angle. We managed to bounce our way through, but Seb gets a great exit off of the chicane, and in towards the Lesmo, he actually gets the position there, and he moves himself up into third place, so it didn't take him long to take that position. But for us, though, the pace is not there in this first stint. We're now going backwards. As you can see, we've got both the Sport Pacer Carlos Bolsack Racing Point Formula 1 teams right up my backside here. Here comes Devon now towards Ascari here. He's going to have a look at this move here, but we break a little bit later, swoop around the outside, clean move there, and we're back through. We go compromised on the Ascari just a little bit there, as I had to carry more speed on the initial phase there, and that's put me under pressure. Here comes Devon once again now, with Carlos in behind now, trying to find a way on through, and we've got Bottas there alongside Gasly as well, so Bottas starting a little bit out of position there, but we just about defend from Devon Bolsack there. Now we can try and push onwards now with Bottas overtaking the Red Bull car. Look at all the cars that are just swarming over the back of my car. It's not fun right now. There is many terrifying motions going through my body right now, but we are going to make the position here as we now go around the outside to defend against Devon once again, with Bottas having to sit behind. He's managed to pass the Red Bull though of Pierre Gasly, which is not a surprise at all, because the Williams cars are faster than Pierre. As we now try and defend against Devon once again now onto lap 4 of the Grand Prix. The classic F2 rivalry resumes here, and we go through in towards the Parabolica now, and we're still in front of Devon for the time being, but obviously on the straight, this is where Slipstream and DRS is going to pay dividends for Devon now as we come onto the straight here. Bottas making a move on the Haas car. of Romain Grosjean there. Meanwhile, for us, we're still trying to go defensive here against Mr. Bullsack Boy here. And as they go now in towards the first corner here, Devon goes a little bit early on the brakes, actually. That time around, I went later on the brakes. It compromises my run, but I just shove him wide, and that allows Carlos to come in there and just steal the position. And that is him done and dusted. If you're wondering why I say Carlos, by the way, it's because of Zach Brown, how he pronounces it. I find it funny. It's a meme. Deal with it. But now, on towards lap 4 of the Grand Prix. That was aggressive. We're now having to defend against Carlos because he's now the next person that really wants to fight us here. So we go up in towards 8th gear now, heading towards the Ascari chicane. I am going to go defensive here because I do believe Carlos is going to have an attack here. And in towards Ascari, he does so. And I just have to sort of take my way through. Back end sliding a little bit there. Catch the slide through there. Nice little camera angle of that. And we're carrying on, pressing forwards as Carlos now has the outside, or the inside line, sorry. And I decided to try and brake a little bit earlier in towards the parabolic, actually lift off a little bit to try and steal the DRS, and actually, to my surprise, it didn't work. That was a bit of a shame there. It didn't actually work. It didn't work for me, it didn't work for Carlos, so both of us didn't actually get, should I say Carlos, didn't get the DRS, which was weird, so that was wasted time. Meanwhile, though, Valtteri Bottas is now up in the mix, so he's overtaken the cars that he needs to, and Valtteri now is going to breeze past me here towards the Ascari chicane. Nothing I can do on that occasion, and unfortunately, just continuing to go backwards in this race here, as that's my second track extension of the Grand Prix. One more of those, and I'm stuffed. So yeah, so far, not so good. Obviously, we were expecting to be overtaken by the Ferraris and the Mercedes. So speaking of the Mercedes, you can see on the minimap there, Hamilton has overtaken Charles Leclerc and leads the Italian Grand Prix to the disgust of the Tifosi home crowd. But yeah, we're not having the best of Grand Prix. Not only have we been overtaken by a bunch of different cars, but we're just not finding that much pace there, as Devon is now actually back in front of Carlos, so maybe some team orders there. Maybe Devon just decided against team orders and just blasted ahead of Carlos, because Devon's kind of that bull sack that you'd expect. But speaking of Devon, though, here he comes now with some DRS here. He goes the outside line this time to try and defend. We're going to defend the inside line, though. And on this occasion here, we can just completely shut the door on Devon there. Be very harsh and aggressive. And my plan is just to allow Devon and Carlos to have a little bit of a scrap. And you can see that the advantage pulls out. In other words, I just need to get out of that slipstream. I reckon if I'm out of the slipstream, I shouldn't really have too much of a problem fighting them. And speaking of that, lap 8 of the Grand Prix now, we're coming in for our first stop of the Grand Prix to go onto the medium tyres and take them to the end of the Grand Prix. And as you can see, also one of the Ferraris is coming in as well, so it's not just me coming in. But yeah, you can see we have actually got one of the Racing Point cars as well on their way in, and it might be actually that they might just compromise me here. I hope they don't. But I have a sneaky suspicion that they might do. So we come into the pits now, fresh set of mediums. Yep, they're going to block me, and it is, of course, Devon Bullsack that has blocked me, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you very much for that, Devon, you utter bullsack. But never mind, we're just going to have to carry on our way. We should be able to do well with the undercut that we've got on the medium tyres. And like I said, obviously, these are just the opening stage of the Grand Prix, and we've got plenty of way to go before, obviously, we have to try and defend, because our tyres will most likely go off before that. Speaking of Devon, though, we've got a yellow flag in front, though. I think it's one of the Haas cars that's got a problem. It's Romain Grosjean. Devon goes to the outside line here, and I literally played the most dirtiest tactic ever there on Devon. So Devon went for the move around the outside. I blocked him and pinched his line so that he had to be stuck behind Romain Grosjean. That was by far the dirtiest thing I've ever done. And I think actually, you can see that Devon pulls into the pits. I think Devon actually broke his front wing on the back of Grosjean there. But apart from that, nothing else happened. It was one of those Grand Prix, guys, where the middle stint just calmed everything down. You can see my tyre wear actually is massive. I also had gearbox problem, but I lost second gear at the end of this Grand Prix. So that's something to note for the Singapore Grand Prix next time around. But I lost second gear. The tyre wear was fine. I was an absolute knob to Devon, but at the end of the day, you don't just go ploughing into the back of the Haas car. Why don't you lift off Devon, mate, and, you know, come back inside. Anyway, that is going to be it. It's P5 for us today. A very solid job. Once again, best of the rest behind Mercedes and Ferrari. We are comfortably submitting ourselves now as the 5th best driver on the grid behind Mercedes and Ferrari. Once again, oh, would you look at that? Ferrari won again. Shock. And it's Charles Leclerc for what I think is actually his 3rd race win in a row now. So Charles is really on a roll, as Vettel that I think claimed P2. So in front of their home crowds, Ferrari have done everything that we would have wanted from them, and that's to get a 1-2 finish there. And as you can see, Carlos gets P6 in his car there. You can see all of his beautiful McLaren gear helmet-wise on a Racing Point car. Lol. But as you can see then, it wasn't actually the 1-2 I thought it was. So Lewis Hamilton stopped that 1-2 finish, but the Tifosi won't care. It's a race win and a third place as well. That'll do for them. And the champagne goes flying then as Charles wins the Grand Prix in front of the home crowd. The first time since Fernando Alonso did it back in 2010. It kind of shocked me that it's actually been that long since Ferrari have won at their home Grand Prix. But I presume they'll probably win it this year because they've got the best power unit on the grid. But that's going to be it then. So, Charles Leclerc wins ahead of Lewis Hamilton, ahead of Vettel and then Bottas. Myself beating Carlos Sainz. And then it is Pierre Gasly in front of Perez Verstappen with a decent little recovery drive there, starting in P13. Hulkenberg in the points for Renault. So a double point score and finish for Renault. But once again, we are going to increase our championship standings over Racing Points. So as you can see then, it is Vettel ahead of Hamilton by 24 points. Charles Leclerc is slowly but surely creeping into this championship fight in the latter stages of the season, which is getting very, very interesting there. In the Constructors' Championship, we now hold, I believe it's a 37-point lead over Sport Pesa Carlos thingy.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. Some excellent overtaking moves from your former teammate today. Did he learn some of them from you?
Are they on about Lucas Weber? If they are, I don't even remember him existing.
You're beating all expectations. Would you say we all underestimate?
Never underestimate the dark side of the Force. Supreme Leader will rise. I'll just go with chassis.
Great. Well, that's everything.
That's my timer going off there as well. But that's going to be it then, guys, for my F1 2019 career mode for you guys here today at the Italian Grand Prix. That is pretty much all that happened. Like I said, the middle stint was just dead. I managed the gap between myself and Carlos. Devon whacked his front wing off on the Haas car. At the end of the day, like, it was a dirty move, but at the end of the day, all you had to do was just lift off and avoid the car, not ram into its back. So, not really my fault there. But until then, guys, the next race obviously is going to be the Singapore Grand Prix. If you guys enjoyed the video, like I said, please like and subscribe. Your support really does mean a lot to me. Yeah, I love just constantly making these videos at the moment. And we should be done with season 1 by the end of next week, which will be quite interesting. But yeah, take care all.